G'day, I'm Joel Crean. This is Weeknights and we're in Tokemwald tonight. We've got lots to get through, including a look at plans for the Cobram skate park with things moving forward and work about to get underway. Shep Police are running through another Cool Heads driver education program this week, and we'll meet a couple of the speakers and hear their stories. And Kai Fauna Park has welcomed some new baby wombats. We'll have the pictures from there a little later on as well. But right now, it's local news time.
Thanks, Joel. Checking your news headlines for your Monday evening. First to footy, and Shep United proved they're still the best team in the comp with a hard-fought win over the Mooroopna Cats at Deakin Reserve yesterday afternoon. A crowd of more than 10,000 watched on as the Cats and Demons put on a grand final show, United eventually holding on to a 15-point lead at the final siren. And Carters will have more on United's win later in sport. In other headlines, an 11-year-old boy has died in what appears to be a quad bike accident in Kattunga this morning. Early reports suggested a girl was trampled by a cow, but Ambulance Victoria has since confirmed a boy was killed in the accident. Investigations are continuing. Meanwhile, the Benalla area is to become a target for police this month as they try and stop the carnage on local roads. 36 people died on the state's roads in October last year, prompting Deputy Commissioner Kieran Walsh to launch a Victoria-wide response to tackle road trauma. Speed, alcohol, drugs, seatbelts and mobile phones will be the major focus for officers in our region as part of the operation. A new DPI guide has been launched to provide details on research and redevelopment, those in the dairy industry. Victoria accounts for around 85% of Australia's dairy exports, and Farm Services Executive Director Ron Harris says the paper brings together all of the services the department provides. I'll be back with more for you later on in the show.
Keeping our young drivers safe. That's the message which will be delivered at this week's Cool Heads driver education program in Shepparton. Ahead of the program, I went to meet a young woman called Annie, who was involved in a serious crash a few years ago and who has been through more than I can imagine in order to live independently again. Here's Annie with her story.
On the 21st of June 2008, I was driving on the back road to Bendigo from Echuca, the Extagona road, and I was T-boned by a gentleman who didn't see my car at an intersection. I hit my face on the windscreen quite hard. I fractured 4 bones on my face. I broke most of my ribs. I broke my pelvis in 2 places, broke my arm, and I received brain injury.
This is an actual real consequence. It's not just about ads on television, it's real life, and they can do the right thing and prevent that from happening to them.
Annie's mum was initially her primary carer and admits her life was turned upside down in a split second.
Yes, things have changed, and they'll probably, always be a little bit different to what it was before the accident.
But she and Annie are coming to Cool Heads with a clear message, particularly for those drivers who may have sped to work this morning, or for those young drivers who got behind the wheel after a few too many drinks at the weekend.
You really do have to think about what you're doing and the possible consequences. It's not just your own life, it's other people's lives that will be affected. And just have a good think about it.
I'd like to say that you can be a really good driver. It doesn't matter how good you are, you have to focus on what other people are doing because they don't always drive well.
I really take my hat off to our road trauma survivors who come and talk at Cool Heads. It's very confronting, and I think they're extremely brave for putting themselves out there to deliver this message.
Cool Heads is happening at the Harder Auditorium at GoTAFE this Wednesday night, kicking off at 7 p.m. If you want more information, check out the council website, greatershepparton.vic.gov.au, or contact Acting Sergeant Thelma Bull at Shepparton Police on 5820 5777. Nothing like a family helping out, and that's exactly what's happening out at Durrangile, where a local family has opened its doors to a New Zealand Paralympian who is training for the London Games.
For New Zealand Paralympic dressage competitor Rachel Stock, London 2012 was a financial nightmare. But when she got wind of local Durrangile trainer Sue Terry and her son Ben, things started to look up.
I was competing in New Zealand and selected for a London 2012 Olympic team in 2010, and then the financial barriers and the location of New Zealand and Australia was so far away from Europe, where the base of dressage is. We realised that financially it was going to become completely obstructive for us to get up there and compete.
Rachel had sent through an email and said that she was looking to qualify for London 2012 as a New Zealand para equestrian representative. So we thought we could help, along with the owners and the sponsors of myself and the horse, give it a go and see how we go.
Rachel, who was at a standstill with these financial barriers, is now travelling back and forth from New Zealand to train in the Goulburn Valley.
Unfortunately, Australasia is so isolated from the rest of the dressage world. Everything happens in the Northern Hemisphere, and the cost involved with taking horses to the Northern Hemisphere is astronomical. It's completely crippling.
And it turns out Rachel and horse Ricky are a match made in heaven.
Sue Terry is very deeply involved in dressage here in Victoria and a very well-known lady, and I was assured that she would be a wonderful point of contact going forward, that she knew everybody and would be able to point us in the right direction, and Ben has all the knowledge and the dressage experience that we needed to know where a suitable horse would be if we were to do an Anzac attack on Europe. And through many conversations that it turned out that the right horse was right here all along.
And for training partner Ben, who will accompany Rachel to Europe early next year, the hard work has only just begun.
The hard work to put into this sport, the dedication, long hours, late nights, early mornings, up there with our instructors, just going at it all the time, trying to better ourselves, improve the horse, and just the dedication. Some people say I don't have a social life.
And Rachel's intentions are to settle for nothing but gold.
Absolutely, we're not going up there just to make up numbers. This is an Anzac attack on Europe. We're going to bring in the best of Australia, the best of New Zealand. We've got the experience from Europe with Hayley, we've got the coaching, the training, the schooling in the horse from Australia, the rider from New Zealand. We're off.
Weeknights will be back from Tokemore right after the break.
Up next on Weeknights, we find out how long until Cobram Skate Park is ready to ride. And we meet the newest members of the Kyabram Fauna Park family, and they're cute. Those stories and more local news on the other side of this break.
More local news to look at now. What is making headlines today, Julie?
Joel, air traffic control and an error with satellite navigation caused a plane crash in Benalla which killed 6 people, according to the coroner. No one survived the crash in 2004. A 64-year-old man has been charged after allegedly making death threats to a Shepparton police officer. Police claim the accused made the threats to a third person and had tried to track the officer's home address. He was arrested last week. To netball now, and it was Kyabram's day at Deakin. The side had a comfortable win over the Shep Swans yesterday afternoon. Kai got ahead early and went into the first break with a 5-goal lead, and the girls didn't let up. They went on to take the match 48 goals to 26. Abby Breen was named best on court.
The plan for the Cobram Skate Park is to have things finished by the end of January. And with a look at where plans are at right now, here's Lorena Tullman.
It's been a while coming, but finally Cobram is on a roll towards getting a new skate park.
The Cobram Skate Park has been a long project. It's been coming since 2006, but eventually we've got to the stage now where we've got a design. We've accepted a design from Convict Australia, which are a major skate park designer in both Australia and internationally. They're responsible for the biggest skate park in the world. So we've been quite pleased that they've accepted our challenge to design something unique for Cobram.
The facility is to be located at the car park site at Federation Park. It meets the requirements of public access, lighting and supervision.
The Moira Shire existing skate parks in Yarrawonga, Nathaya and Strathmerton and Numurkah all have what's termed a street skate. And what we're looking at having here is a double bowl, which is more of a surf type atmosphere.
The skating venue will differ from others in the region. It will be a modern bowl design.
This park has really suited all of the criteria, and it's terrific because it doesn't really have residents backing onto it so that noise or other complaints would be minimal.
The development is due to be completed by the end of the year.
Building tenders have been sent out and they're about to be accepted. So for all the kids in Cobram, at last, after 7 years, we now have the plans done, and we're hoping to have the building started in the next month and hopefully finished before the end of this calendar year.
A survey in 2005 showed 81% of residents of all ages wanted the park. Council now believes it's much more. These young residents simply can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it a lot. I think it'll be very good, and yeah, should be fun.
Everyone can have fun and get out and exercise.
I think it's a good design and that we'll all be able to have fun at the same time without us all having separate goes and everything.
Despite a government grant, council funding and generous community support, more money is needed to complete the $220,000 project. So locals are hoping a Buy a Brick campaign will meet the shortfall of a couple of $1,000s. The bricks will be paved into the surrounding landscape.
What we're trying to do in the next month or two is to get the community to dig into their pockets again to participate in the Buy a Brick program. So between $35 and $1,000, anyone that's for any budget, any family, any business, will accept all comers. And we'd be very grateful of it.
From skate parks to fauna parks, the Kyabram Fauna Park has welcomed some new baby wombats these school holidays, and Emily Wisham was as eager as any to check them out.
2 new additions to the Kyabram Fauna Park are drawing a crowd these school holidays.
We've had 2 hairy-nosed wombats in our collection for a while, and they've just come out of quarantine and they're now on public display. This one here, the romantic one, Sniff, he's the boy, and we have a female as well called Jessie.
Sniff and Jessie have found a good home here in the Goulburn Valley after suffering a traumatic loss.
A bit traumatic, I guess. Both of them are orphaned animals. One's a road victim, the other one's a farm victim, the mothers. And we got them when they were about 1.5 months old. And we've had them now since May, basically. And we've been surrogate parents.
It was the Fauna Park's great reputation that drew the owners in.
We had been looking for a pair for probably the best part of 18 months. They knew we were looking for some, so they checked up on us to make sure that we're okay, and we knew what we were doing with these sorts of animals and so forth, and they were very comfortable with what they heard. So they contacted us and we went to Adelaide and picked these guys up.
And without further ado, Ron introduces to you Sniff.
Sniff, as you can see, is just full on. He loves company and he's really laid back, and he's just had a bottle, so he smells a bit bottly, but he's really cute and just likes company, likes people, and enjoys being nursed. He's a big sook. You know.
And Jessie.
Her nature's more what you'd expect. She's a little bit more timid, a little more reserved. And doesn't like to be nursed anymore.
And the plan?
The hope is that maybe in 2 years' time they'll have a baby of their own, which would be really nice.
Unfortunately, the hairy-nosed wombat is on its way to becoming an endangered species. Another reason Sniff and Jessie have been so well received here in Kyabram.
Fortunately, these guys, their range is becoming smaller and smaller. They're only now found in pockets across southern South Australia and into Western Australia, whereas 100 years ago they were found even in Victoria. And so their habitat is diminishing. The numbers are declining now because there's more traffic on like the Nullarbor. There's more road accidents and so forth. So yeah, unfortunately we're now just about ready to list them as a threatened species.
We're off to another break. You're watching Weeknights.
Greg Evans returns to Weeknights shortly with this week's Local You Know. And Peter Cardamone has a look back at what was a top grand final clash at Deakin yesterday. You're watching the Valley's own Weeknights.
If I could turn back the hands of time, I swear I never would have crossed
You're watching the Valley's Own Weeknights, and for a final look at Monday's local news headlines, it's over to you, Julie.
Thanks, Joel. Lastly tonight, a chemical has been found in an unoccupied house in Shep, which caught fire on Saturday night. Neighbours say fire crews arrived at the Ashenden Street house at around midnight. The fire is being treated as suspicious and investigations are continuing. A 23-year-old man has been done for drink driving after police nabbed him on his way to the game yesterday. The driver from Mooroopna was stopped at around 11:30 and returned a reading of .082. Well, it was a wet one out at Denny, but the 2011 Ute Muster has been hailed a success. 33 people have been charged with drug or alcohol offences. One man from Rochi was arrested.
Let the party rock. Put your hands up, everybody just dance up.
Monday night means it's local you know night. So here's Greg Evans from 95.3 SRFM at the GB Hotel.
Well, the local you know this week is a sporting legend in this part of the world. Her name is Val Barris, but of course it could be very much Val Netball. We could have just called her that because she's been involved with netball all of her life. She's won awards. In fact, she almost looks like a netball. You know? Val, you welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your sporting career.
Thank you.
68 years you've been involved with. I didn't know netball was around that long.
It was. It started in 1937.
And when
but
did
it
you,
was
when
basketball
did you start?
then. When did I start?
Yes.
In 1942.
Wow. So netball was in its infancy. The courts here in the Goulburn Valley must have been, what, here, there and everywhere?
Yeah, Ardmona, Ship East, Showgrounds.
Yeah. And you were about 12 and you discovered this game called netball.
Well, my teacher at school played netball, or basketball as it was then, and they were short of a player, and so she asked me if I would play, and I played from then on.
Yes, and you got involved and you became very, very good at it too. Was it a natural thing or did you work hard on becoming a champion at this game?
No, it was natural actually. Yeah, natural.
So you grew up in the area, in the Goulburn Valley.
Yeah, Pine Lodge.
Did you always, your dad owned a farm at Pine Lodge.
Yeah.
Did you always want to just play netball? Because you went to university and became a chemist.
Nothing else
mattered?
No, turned me on. I wasn't interested in any other game but netball.
So, university, became a chemist, came back, opened the pharmacy.
No, I worked with a pharmacist.
Yes, and all the way through netball.
Yes.
And you've picked up achievements and awards all the way along the way.
Yeah.
City of Greater Shepparton Volunteer of the Year. This is more involvement with a State Distinction Award, and the one that you love the most is the State Netball Association Long Service Certificate. You got this in 1979. No one else has got one. Reason? No one else has been doing it as long as this lady. That is a fantastic achievement.
Yeah.
Now, what do? You
Very
polish up your awards, Val, or what?
Oh, they're on the wall, yes, no, they're not. I'm just happy with them all as they are.
I said in the introduction, your name could be Val Netball. I mean, we can actually...
Well, they call me Mrs. Netball.
Mrs. Netball. So, Mrs. Netball, tell me, you're still involved.
Yes.
What's your weekends consist of these times?
Well, we're finished Saturday comp at the moment, but night comp started last Tuesday night, which I'm involved in as well. And it goes till nearly, middle of December.
So, your dad ran around with you to all these clubs when you were a young girl and got you involved, and now you're doing the running around and you're still actively involved as the timekeeper and setting things up. You're still Mrs. Netball, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Well, it's been an absolute joy to catch up with you,
Thank you
on Weeknights this week. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you around the court sometime.
You will. Thank you.
There she is, Mrs. Netball, our local that you know this week, and I'll be back same time next week with another local you know.
Well, it was a great win to United on the weekend, downing the Cats at Deakin Reserve, and it was a great call by Carters and the Curtain Raisers on 3SRFM as well. Now for a look back at all of those highs and lows, here is Peter Cardamone down at Deakin Reserve.
Well, one of the best grand finals in recent history has been played and won. Nice to see that Chip United have gone back to back, but Mooroopna, they were just so brave, and we had it all covered, of course, on 95.3 SRFM. The margin in the end was 15 points, but it was a great game of football at quarter time, and it was an amazing first quarter. 5-2 32 United to Marupna's 4-1 25. It was 7 points the margin at quarter time and nothing in the game. Multiple goal kicker only in the first quarter was Tim Luby, and it looked like he was going to have one of those days out. Were they going to be able to contain Tim Luby? Well, yes, they were, and at second quarter it became a real battle. 7-6 48 United, they led Marupna 4-5 29. It was 19 points, 2 goals, 4 to 4 points in that second quarter, and United started to take some ascendancy over the game. But to Marupna's credit, and there was a massive blue at half-time just on the siren, and Tim Luby was sent off, 15 minutes of playing time, and then it was game on. The Cats were brave. They came out in the third quarter, in the premiership quarter, and booted 4 goals, 3 to 2 points to reduce the margin to 6 points. It was 8-8 56 to 7-8 50, and the Cats were in front. And let me tell you, 10,863 people, I think about 7,000 were Marupna supporters, and they were pumped. They made some serious noise at the Shepherd end of Deakin, but in the last quarter, great sides respond and great players do as well. Nathan Gemmell, well, he was voted best on ground. Dan Collier, he won the VCFL medal, but United hung on to win back-to-back premierships, 2010 and now 2011 premiers. The final scores in front of a massive crowd on a beautiful day for football. United 11-12 78 to Marupna 9-9 63. 4 goals, 2 in the last quarter to 1-1 in an amazing game of football. Mark Quarrell was wrapped. He's now a 4-time premiership coach out of the last 5 years. And Brad Campbell, well, he's very, very proud of his Marupna Cats. And let me tell you, it's been a terrific year on Weeknights. 2011, we've taken it to the next level, and in 2012, we'll do exactly the same. Now, throughout the week on Weeknights, by the way, tomorrow we will review all the netball and football and reserves and thirds. And on Wednesday night, we'll announce the best team of the last 20 years on Weeknights, and we've got it covered right here.
And we'll catch up with Carter's for more sport during the week. But up next, it's local news and the local weather forecast.
To punch a police officer, but as a whole, police say the crowd was very well behaved. Now, taking a closer look at those weather details, here's our McDonald's Weather Whiz Kid.
Hi, my name is Brady. I'm in Year 5 at Almona Primary School. I'm today's Weather Whiz Kid. Here's the weather.
To the satellite first, and a high pressure system centred just to the west of Tasmania will move slowly eastwards during Monday and Tuesday and will be centred over the Tasman Sea on Wednesday. A low pressure trough will develop over the Bight on Tuesday and will approach Western Victoria on Wednesday. The trough will weaken as it enters the state on Thursday. It was fairly fine across the region today, partly cloudy in Shepparton, Albury and Bendigo for a top of 19 degrees. A little bit warmer in Melbourne, teamed with sunshine for 20. In other parts, we had a sunny 20 in Deniliquin, a few showers in Echuca. 20 was the top in Seymour with a bit of cloud about. A similar story in Benalla for 19. We're finally starting to see some enjoyable spring weather around the region. Sunny tops of 21 in both Albury and Shepparton tomorrow. A bit of cloud about Bendigo, but down in Melbourne, sunshine for 23 degrees. Elsewhere, the fine weather continues. Sunny and 22 the top for Denny. A bit of cloud around Echuca for a mostly fine day. The morning frost should clear for a fine day in Benalla, 21 the high. Similar but slightly warmer in Seymour for 22. Daylight savings has arrived. The sun is due to rise at 6:27 a.m. for those early risers, setting at a much later 7:26 p.m. Taking a look ahead now, and we have some mixed conditions around the region. Despite perfectly sunny skies tomorrow, Wednesday's outlook is fairly bleak. Cloud cover for a top of 21 in Shepparton, followed by showers on Thursday. A similar story for Benalla. The morning frost and fog should part for fine days until Thursday, where showers are forecast for a top of 21 degrees. Showers are due to arrive in Echuca on Wednesday and Thursday, 22 the expected high. But for something different, the wet weather won't be making its way to Melbourne. A bit of cloud about for a mostly fine 23 on Wednesday, 22 the expected top on Thursday.
That was the weather. I would like to say hello to everyone at Almona Primary School.
That is all from the Weeknights team from Tokemwall on this Monday. Stay tuned. The 7 p.m project is coming up next on Southern Cross 10. I'm Joel Crean. We'll see you tomorrow night.